Hello peeps and hello peppers and welcome to Film Friday, filmed on Sunday, because I was way too tired today. And on Sunday we're going to the temple and we're talking about cows today. I at least have a sea cow and I have a faint hope that the Queen of Pentacles that is a cow is in this set. I want to talk about the biopic Temple Grandin from 2010, and Abraham is hopefully gonna help me a little bit. Yeah, we all know I say too much M, and that's why I'm using the pictures right away. Like, Temple Grandin was one of the first autistic women who openly talked about, like, getting an education and invented a lot of facilities and things to understand cows just by observing them. Of course, in today's time, she has faced criticism, for instance, because she still talks about this high functioning and low functioning label of autism and says some things that are not all right, but at her time, and she was born in 1947 and still lives. She was a pioneer, and this biopic film functions as a story of her younger years, and I like it because her mother kind of fought like a lioness to not have her in an institution. Like I like the Raven because this Raven uses tools and this Raven is smart. Like, at least according to Google, Temple Grandin didn't start speaking before she was 4 years old. And I still remember the scene in the film where the mother always holds pictures up to the little girl and says, "Temple, Temple, look at me." And of course, there is a lot of desperation. And I must say, I see myself in that. I mean, I spoke early and I spoke too much and I spoke many things that came out wrong, but like in a little child, this is cute. But still, because of my obvious physical disability, the parents were very worried what would become of me. And of course, I was yelled at a lot to practice walking and to practice fitting in. And like the real Temple Grandin has also said, she is constantly in a play. I find it good to acknowledge that she masks, but like the way many other autistic people present her speeches in today's time, she encourages other people to mask. Yeah, actually, I was born in the sign of Leo, but I was born too early. So I celebrate my birthday for myself in the sign of Virgo. Many people attribute like a way of being organized to the Virgo. And actually, Temple Grandin has her birthday 2 days after the day where I decided it's my birthday. And she made a lot of waves, and she is played by Claire Danes. So since like when I first saw that movie in the later 2000s, or it's from 2010, so maybe I saw it 2011. I still had Claire Danes in my head as a like cute little Juliet from Romeo and Juliet, because I have difficulties abandoning my own old patterns. And so it was actually really awesome to see Claire Danes with the cows, where she like really get herself purposefully dirty to like she literally rolls in the mud to pass as a man because women and lionesses are not welcome at the time in the cattle breeding industry. And actually, okay, I grew up with this flower, and okay, Ace of Swords is always about the mind. So yes, Temple Grandin in the film shows a lot of how her mind functions and how she, uh, let's say, is supposed to learn languages at school, but rather draws pictures to remember the stuff. Does that ring a bell? Yeah. Uh, First, I see bats here. Like, bats are also a symbol of like unconventional perception of the world because they, let's say, they see in the dark, in commas, through ultrasound. And there is a teacher who recognizes Temple's talents. Like, he says, even to her parents and other teachers, she is an amazing visual thinker. So he gives her visual tasks and he introduces her to, like, especially the difficult animals. And interestingly, one of my first good communications with a parent about autism was when we saw a small documentary about Temple Grandin, and there it was stated that she saw the world like a cow. And then my dear relative asked me, do you rather see the world like a cow or like a horse? Because I love horses. And by the way, horses are also featured in the film, like both for riding and for learning to communicate with them. An owl plays rather a role in my childhood than in here, the Temple Grandin film. But maybe this is a good chance to... the thorns. Oh, I like the thorns. Like Temple Grandin sees when she works at her uncle's ranch, a squeeze machine to calm down cows. And so she builds a squeeze machine for herself that she even takes to college. And like when I read the Wikipedia article of the film to refresh my mind, it said that actually the squeeze machine was considered an unlawful sexual practice and therefore removed. Like, I remember the film in a way that it scared the roommates, so it had to be removed. And then Temple got a blind roommate who she became really good friends with. Of course, I personally find it a little bit problematic to claim that a blind person who cannot see the unusual things is the ultimate answer to all problems, because like even what you can't see is still there, and blind people have their own ways to perceive the environment, hence the bats from the other card. So I would say yes, Temple Grandin in this story kills some norms, and that scares people. And actually here, talking about unlawful sexual practice here, it is known in today's time that many autistic people are kind of attracted to kinky stuff and pressure instruments because it calms them, it gives them a feeling of trust. And if you want to have a relation, it should be built on trust, shouldn't it? And I like thorns and I like everything that's spiky. Another owl! I once saw a movie in an airplane but without sound with owls. Oh, that's also a queen, and the crown is in the stars. So yes, let's say in this context of the film, Temple Grandin is, so to say, the queen of autism, because she she made something of herself. She used her special perception to do something for the animals and to make a job for herself. And like in the beginning of the movie, she has a problem going through doors, but then she always says it's another door. When she sees opportunities, I actually enjoy the idea of overcoming obstacles. In today's time, I am not sure that like just switching the perspective is everything when working with a problem, because like sometimes there is just more behind it. But I actually like the red moon because that is a, yeah, physically there is a shadow of the, I think, of the sun. So some things will just be mathematically predictable and still mysterious, and some things will just have bigger reasoning behind it, and you can't just go, now let's see it as an opportunity and fly away. Fly, fly away, come to my love, oh my pretty flamingo. Temperance, and another red moon. I would actually say temperance is very important in the movie because, like, in the more or less beginning of the movie here, Temple Grandin says in a totally tense tone, I only eat peanut butter and jelly. So, yes, her relatives then provide her with peanut butter and jelly, but it is my understanding that she had to get used to different foods because the circumstances were this, and yeah. And I mean, I don't know her personally, but if she advocates for masking, then she probably has trained herself to embrace different foods. The devil. Yes, to some social norms, she probably was the devil. Here is the heart connected to snakes. And there is this scene in the film where, like, adult Temple gets sensory overload because there are a lot of people at a party. And then her mother says, Temple, Temple, you have to come because you are the first person in the family who got an MA or a PhD. Anyway, some academical title. Some very worthy academical title. And well, then also Temple is supposed to speak at a conference, and she says, I'm autistic. Let's say she has a little bit of this blurred speech, like I have first seen in like deaf people who learn to speak. And yes, let's say I am basically hard of hearing, where we don't know how much is in my ears and how much is actually the processing, the different manner of processing in my brain. So yeah, ears with light shining through, very good. Anyway, she says, Temple Grandin, I'm autistic, and or like I was born autistic. And then the other people say, and when did you get cured? And then she says, like, I'm not cured, I'm always gonna be autistic, but I found my, okay, and now I don't remember the word. Like, I would always say she found her niche. And that, I won't say it's an inspiration, because I literally found a blog this morning that says why Temple Grandin is not my hero. But, and I like big butts that I can't deny, I wanted to do this at the beginning of May because the first May is always about workers' rights. And I think to me it's a workers' right to communicate with authorities about creating an education and workplaces that suit the people individually and where autistic people can use their special interests and talents. Amen. Bye bye.